Oh, I picked the wrong date. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Wallets Working Group. The 1st of August, fix the date. Here today. As usual, I put together a few slides, a few things to talk through. Let's jump into it. Quick contents. That's fine. We'll go through it. Quick housekeeping before we jump in. This call should be an hour, so it should end maximum 58 minutes. But we might end a little sooner. I'm the host. I'm Ryan. Hello. I think I know you all. My co-host with me today is Vladimir. If you want to say hi. Maybe everyone knows Vladimir as well. Yeah, there you go. He's waved. Okay, cool. I'll link this slide specifically. This has all the links that I'm going to talk about today, or also in the presentation. I just put them all on this slide just so they're all in one place. And it's just a bit easier because there's a lot of links. There's always a lot of links, and it's just easier. I like this. Okay, cool. Just jumping into intro. First of all, where have these meetings been? We haven't had a meeting in I don't know, like two and a half, maybe 3 months. I don't know. I haven't been tracking it. Unfortunately, I've been super busy. The other leads, so Vladimir and Adam have also been super busy. We're mainly focusing on we're really sure different things we're focusing on. I'm mainly working on the Hardfork stuff at Intersect, and as well as building governance tooling. So I've been very, very busy with that. And I think it works better. These calls work better if I have time to prepare for these calls and we have stuff to really talk about. I'd rather not run these calls if we don't have things to talk about, we don't have things to discuss. There's no point for me turning up just for the sake of it. I'd rather postpone meetings until we actually have something worth talking about. Because I just don't want to waste people's time, and it's easy to fall into that trap of just doing a call every 2 weeks and then just saying things for the sake of it, but not getting anywhere. And I'm keen to avoid that. For those of you who haven't been here before, I've added a link here to our GitHub page. So this is just a general summary, general intro to the group, our motivations, what we're trying to do here. So mainly, to talk about wallet issues, trying to come together to solve some issues, move together at large problems, ecosystem level problems. We have a couple of initiatives we're working on at the moment. So wallet connectors, I'll give a status of this in a minute. Wallet connectors and query layer initiatives, as well as some other stuff. So that explains it. While introing the call, before we jump into the rest of it, I just wanted to quickly highlight a couple new SIPs that have come through that I think might be interesting to people in this group. Number one, SIP 129 just got numbered today. This is basically a competing proposal to how we handle Conway credentials, kind of competing. Some of it competes. The way I'd modeled Conway credentials with SIP 105 and in SIP 5 as well was modeling of state pool keys, which is very simple way to represent things. Ashish from Stricter has proposed SIP 129, which is a different way of doing it, which adds a header, which makes these credentials, so DREP to CT credentials, more like addresses. Also wants to change some of the prefixes around. So I implore everyone to look at this. I think it's a cool proposal. I like it. Definitely recommend the read. I think what might be an issue is adoption, because I think people have already adopted the other way of doing things. But I recommend everyone to leave a comment if they're interested. The proposal I want to highlight is this Plutus Wallet's DApp bridge from Leo or Procan Wallet. Leo's keen, once we have Plutus V3 out, I know, to deploy Plutus-based wallets. And this would enable that to allow those wallets to speak to dApps, which is really quite interesting. So just wanted to highlight that. Is there anything else anyone would like to highlight for today's agenda, or any points anyone would like to raise before we jump into it? Amazing. Silence is golden, as always. So since we've been away for a while, I wanted to quickly give some status on stuff myself and Vladimir have been working on. So wallet connector stuff, obviously our aim here is to kind of replace SIP30. I think we all kind of agree. We all have our gripes with SIP30, and we'd like to move past it as an ecosystem. Our deliverables here, we've done 1 hour 4, which isn't amazing. We've done CPS 10, so this encapsulates the problems we have with SIP30, and we worked on this for quite a while around the start of the year. The next proposals, so this encapsulates the problem, and then these proposals will be the solution. I'm working on these. I need to put more thought into it. I think I need to speak to people more. I do have a very rough draft here. My action points for this is to continue slowly working this, and I think I need to reach out to probably stakeholders and more people like yourselves, reach out for support on this, because it's a lot of work. I'm slowly chipping away at it, but it's going to take me quite a while. Our second initiative is the query layer standardization initiative, led by our friend Vladimir. Why are we doing this? I think Cardano lacks standardized query layer, which leads to suboptimal tooling, and it'd be super nice and super easy. Be super nice and reduce complexity for wallets if they want to read data from different sources. If we can add a standardized query layer, and it's also like helpful in like other ways. Status, maybe Vladimir wants to talk to this, but we have deliverables for this initiative were two CPSs, CPS 12 and CPS 11, to encapsulate the problem wholly, and then encapsulate the problem around defining Cardano data as JSON types, as encoding Cardano data in JSON. And these two have got the green tick. Vladimir worked very hard on these, as well as having input from this group. The next level here is standardizing, using this JSON definition to standardize a query layer. And Vladimir's put forward a proposal for that this morning. Oh, sorry, this afternoon. Vladimir, would you like to talk us through this proposal? How's it going?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So this proposal is basically just kind of like it is something that builds on top of the previous CIP for the JSON schema, and the goal here is a bit more ambitious than just providing another schema for the API endpoints. So here the goal is to build some kind of description for a specification that can be used to build particular transport-dependent APIs like WebSockets, HTTP, and injected JavaScript objects, all following the same interface. So effectively, the logic can be reused in different environments, regardless of the transport interface. And here, what have I done is first I described the approaches for things like rollbacks, pagination, and the approach to building the API, like in general, how it should be structured. So the basic idea is that it is something like block frost, essentially. So it's not a chain follower type of an indexer, but more like a REST API, essentially. Because I am convinced that chain followers are inherently DApp specific. Like you can't really make a good one without providing the information about the parts of the blockchain state that the DApp actually cares about, like what people do with CARP, for example. So deciding to do it like a general purpose API similar to Blockfrost it's actually quite limiting for us, because we cannot do stuff like handling rollbacks properly, which is written here in the text. like a justification for that, because effectively the API is pool-based. So whenever a DApp needs something, some data, it calls an endpoint. But there is no way for the backend to notify a DApp whenever there is a rollback. So that's a huge downside, actually. But in practice, DApps, like real production DApps, live with that limitation and are absolutely fine, because we know that the nature of Cardano is like it is designed in a way that prevents you from submitting a transaction if there is an inconsistency between the state of the node, like what state does the node perceive as valid, and the state on the client. So effectively, malformed transactions will be just rejected, and the user will be forced to rebuild them. So I think that in practice, it is quite okay to just give up on trying to handle rollbacks, like I think most of Block Frost users do. Then I also wrote something about pagination. Could you please scroll down? Yeah, so in CIP30, there is that problem that there is no guarantee that while the script iterates over pages, they do not change. Like they can change really, and it is suboptimal. Like we could remove that source of inconsistency, even though we cannot eliminate it completely because of rollbacks. It is something that can be done quite easily, actually, by just letting the user to refer to a particular point in time using a slot number. But I know that there are some issues with that approach because of the Byron era. I haven't really researched that deeply, but I have seen someone's post on Discord about that. Then the problem that I'm currently struggling with is trying to come up with a method that would allow us to go from these descriptions, basically, that you see below, from these descriptions to something consumable, like an open API specification. Because for now, this is just basically English text, slightly structured, but still not machine readable. So I'm going to just try to figure out a way of doing that automatically, or more or less automatically, and then derive the APIs for different transfers from that. And another thing that I need to find a solution for is the fact that we need some extra types that do not exist in the ledger, but are still useful for like specifying the protocol. So basically, there are types like protocol parameters that do not exist in the CDDL, but are still useful. And there are also at least two types that I think also are of that kind. Genesis configuration and the era summaries type that is used for anything for any calculations where there is a need to convert between slot time and Unix time. Yeah.
Do you want to? Are you going to add those into SIP 116 then, the JSON encoding?
Yeah, I think that is going to be the best solution, but unfortunately, it would require updating it because all of the descriptions of the approaches are written with an assumption that we have a CDDL, while in this case we don't.
I see. There's something in the chat. We do have protocol parameter descriptions in CDDF as well.
No, this is only for the updatable parameters.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, so the problem is there's no CDDL definitions for the other ones. That would be useful as well. So do we know, is the problem we can't work out what types they're going to be, or we can't, yeah.
We can derive that info.
Okay.
Martinez wants to tell something. Yeah, go ahead.
So the other non-updatable parameters, I think they are in the Genesis files already as JSON. So I guess we could use the same schema for part of that, part of the Genesis schema.
Right. So we can use just a schema for updatable parameters and just a separate schema for Genesis, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So effectively, a record of parameters that includes updatable and non-updatable ones together is useless, right? Because it's just a combination of Genesis parameters and updatable parameters, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends.
I
I guess it depends if non-updatable parameters could become updatable. I think that might be the case.
Yeah, I think that they can. I think I remember seeing something that became an updatable parameter, reading about that. Don't remember exactly what was that.
Right. So if that's the case, then maybe one type or one API would be better, but I'm not sure, just thinking out loud.
It's probably better to separate the updatable ones from the Genesis ones to not to not let the user think that the non-updatable ones are updatable, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, this type would still be useful just for the updatable ones.
Okay, so that part is actually very easy, it seems. Does anyone have any suggestions for the transport agnostic specification language?
Is there nothing existing for this? It feels like, maybe someone will know. I feel like there's probably already a standard, right? Or some sort of agnostic language that can be, I assume you've looked at it, maybe.
I think there is a very low chance that there exists something that also defines an RPC object, like an injected object specification. That's very unlikely. But maybe there is some general like approaches or maybe some tooling that can be used for that. Code generation tooling, or I don't know.
I haven't got any suggestions yet. I'll leave it for anyone else. If not, we can look into it.
Then that would be just conventions that should be followed. Maybe when I write this down, I will see how to automate that. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. We'll look into it and then see how we go. Okay, cool. Awesome. Do you have anything more to talk us through on this proposal?
I think there is very little sense in going over the methods because this is basically just an average of Blockfrost, Maestro, and Koios, like really straightforward stuff. But let's scroll to the very bottom to the acceptance criteria and so on.
Yeah.
So I think we can call this API active whenever we have at least one implementation on the receiving side and on the providing side. So basically a protocol adapter that runs on top of, say, Blockfrost or Maestro, and at least one integration with an off-chain library. As a tech lead of one of the off-chain libraries, I can provide the second one pretty easily. So that's almost guaranteed. But for the protocol adapter, it may be tricky. Best case, it will be as simple as writing some JavaScript code that translates calls and does some transformations on the response and request formats, so that, for example, the user can provide a Blockfrost key and get an endpoint that is compatible with this API, something like that. I hope that there will be a way to implement at least one feature complete adapter, because if there are some things missing, then it would be not super valuable, at least right from the start. But I believe that it is possible right now with Blockfrost at least.
Okay, awesome. That's what I was going to say. I was like, does it have everything that we're going to want to support via this standard? So we can convert everything. So this converted between provider.
Let's call it adapter, not provider. Like I use that terminology in
that's better. Yeah, it's a good answer. I'll write a provider. I don't want to call anything else.
Hi, Ruslan. Want to say something? Go ahead.
We can't hear you if you're talking, Ruslan. Okay.
Test. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So there's a
Go ahead.
general concern about requiring a single implementation as a sufficient condition for what's supposed to be a community standard to be considered as active. Like, you would think that for it to be a standard, more than one provider needs to exist, because if it's just one, it's just someone's feature basically being shared as a, like, I mean, it just in general seems like should be kind of requirement, because if we just as a single wallet, Euro exposes some feature of rights, a SIP says a single wallet implements this is enough for it to be a standard. That's it, done. Job done. Now everyone needs to adhere to it, or at least kind of feels pressured to. So I'd say again,
yeah,
nothing
so
saying
in
that it
general, I
shouldn't be
agree.
adopted. It just really kind of feels like it should be more than a single implementation as a general requirement for it to be considered an active standard.
But an active standard, it doesn't mean that it is community adopted. It just means that we can merge it, as far as I understand.
Yeah, so I
mean, there are merged SIPs in a status that is not active. I think still kind of being proposed or something like that.
Yeah, so there's a few statuses. Active, it's kind of quite difficult to define active. Status. Let's just do it properly. Status. Okay, here we go.
Well, active kind of feels like it is like in adoption, basically.
Yeah.
It is adopted by the community. That's what it means, active. And adopted by community means that it's supposed to be like more than a single option, ideally.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should raise the bar on this.
Yeah, let's raise it to 2, for example.
Yeah. 2 or 3 is fine. And also, active doesn't mean people haven't implemented it or people aren't using it, because as with SIPs, you can write a standard that's amazing and you like it, but if no one else likes it, then that's just kind of how it is, right? And no one implements it, then that's kind of also fine. Although I hope that's not the case here, but that's fine. Quite a few SIPs never move past propose, and that's just how it is, and I think that's how it should work. Cool. Okay. Let me add a note. Raise. We can aim higher. Okay, aim higher. Right. I think I normally do 3 for my standards. If I've done a wallet something, I normally do 3 implementers is on the right threshold. Okay, cool. Anything more on this from yourself, Vladimir? What's the next steps for this?
Actually, the plan for me is to first update the 116 CIP with the JSON schemas to support Conway, because it is still not done, and only then I will continue working on this. I will start with the adapter, obviously.
Yeah, actually, on this, it's actually an interesting question. So with this data layer standard, is this going to offer like a superset of all eras at once? Or is it up to the implementers to choose which eras they support, or how are we delineating eras?
That's a good question. So basically, there will be many schemas for different eras, right? And the response type would be basically a union of these schemas, like a union of types from different schemas. So in most of the cases, it will not be different. But for example, with protocol parameters, the consumers should expect any of the schemas actually in the response, because on mainnet, of course, it will only return the latest one, right? But in general, like in tooling, the user should rely on the on any of the user should not rely on any particular era. That's it.
Understood. Cool. That makes sense for me. So update for Conway, and then also I guess we invite comments to this proposal. Invite comments for this draft proposal. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Cool. If no one has any comments, final comments on this proposal, we can move on along the agenda. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Vladimir. That was super good. I'm pleased to see this progress. Awesome. Okay. The next part of the call, we're halfway through, so this is perfect. I wanted to talk through the Chang upgrade and this big hard forks, which is coming along. Why am I doing this? I think generally the Chang upgrade, there's lots of moving parts, lots of things are changing, lots of new things are being added. And I think communication has been a bit of a challenge, especially from the Intersect side. And so I wanted to take this opportunity with yourselves to make sure that this group is up to speed. And particularly, I want to do that because I've been reporting into this hard fork working group, which meets weekly. I've been reporting in wallet readiness for the upgrade. So I just want to make sure that, my reporting area is well informed and that we're all on the same page. I have a list of CIPs here which are being implemented or being introduced via Chang. So obviously SIP 1694 with the new governance model, new BLS primitives, the change to datums, uniformity with SIP 69, inclusive v1 reference scripts, and then there's SIP 117, which I forgot what this actually does. But just to note that there's a lot of things being added. Fair enough if you missed some of these, I just wanted to note them. Notably, SIP 1694 is spread across 2 hard forks. So there's like a bootstrapping phase and a full governance phase. So there'll be a Chang hard fork and then a Chang +1. People have been using different naming. I don't like these naming. This is a confusing naming and it's not intuitive. But there'll be a Chang 1 hard fork, which will introduce a subset of governance, on-chain governance to mainnet. Particularly, this will just have the Constitutional Committee will be acting. Hard forks can be proposed, parameter changes can be proposed, and info actions can be proposed. Ideally, parameter changes, we don't get loads through. Like ideally, because there's no DREPs being represented in the bootstrapping phase, ideally, we're not doing big changes, big protocol parameter changes, anything like this, because it's not really legitimate, right? Like the ADA holders aren't being represented. In the bootstrapping phase, DREPs can register and they can campaign for delegation, but they can't vote. Why has this split been done? So why have DREPs kind of been disabled and nerfed in the bootstrapping? The idea is for the bootstrapping is to build up a DREP cohort so that post the second hard fork, post full governance, there's like full legitimacy in the system. So like we have like a real voting body of DREPs that can really participate and are ready to go. Otherwise, we do this first hard fork, and then there could be a very small, quick minority of DREPs to propose a governance action and vote it through because of the way the thresholds work. And that wouldn't be good. That'd be super illegitimate. So that's why it's been split between 2. I have this graph here. I hope this is kind of useful. I put this together. I see there's a lot of things here. This is showing different networks and different things across the networks. And then this red line here is where we are in time and we're moving left to right as you look at the screen. Along the top here is just some, this is not a network, this is just random things. So no 9.0 was released. Parameters and final genesis files were prepared, and then 9.1 was released. So we have these 2 new node versions. There's node 9.0 and 9.1. The difference between them is that the code in the node is basically exactly the same. There shouldn't be any like major differences between them. The difference is 9.1 is then bundled with the correct genesis files. And particularly the genesis files that we care about are the interim constitutional committee credentials and like the final parameter settings. So the reason these 2 were split is so we could get the core team could get 9.0 out. People start testing 9.0 while these final preparations are being done. And that's all done now, and we're in a good state. So we have SanchoNet, we have Preview, we have Prepod, and we have Mainnet along the bottom. SanchoNet is already been upgraded this year, 9.0, and is already being hard forked into full governance mode. So if you want to test full governance, please use SanchoNet. Preview Network has Preview SPO is upgraded to 9.0 and then 9.1, and then around 17 and a half hours ago, Preview Network hard forked into bootstrapping mode, so hard forked with node 9.1. So thank you everyone who's had a look and taken part so far. But this is a really big milestone. Pre-production is slowly being upgraded until some critical mass indicators are hit, and then it will be hard forked. Pre-prod and mainnet obviously hard forked normally at very similar times. This is because pre-prod is meant to really be a mirror of mainnet. So if mainnet's just about to hard fork, then preview should have just hard forked or will also be in the same place. The idea at the moment is to keep preview network in this bootstrapping mode that I described here. So in this like limited mode where like only some of the governance features can take place, and it's to leave SanchoNet in full governance. So that there's one network to test full governance and one network to test the bootstrapping phase. That's the plan at the moment. That's the intention going forward. What else on this diagram haven't I mentioned? Yeah, so Chang 1 and Chang 2. I've added a dotted line between these because these will be quite a long way in the future. So that's why the dotted line, that's what the dotted line means. It must be at least 90 days between Chang 1 and Chang 2 as per the interim constitution. So I just added a dotted line there to indicate that. Critical mass indicators are things like SPOs have to be 70%, 75% of SPOs have to upgrade it and be ready for the hard fork, as well as all the major exchanges are ready, stuff like that. Okay, I'm talking very fast. Does this make sense? I hope some people are familiar with this. Another reason I wanted to cover this is because I sent out a wallet survey, wallets Chang readiness survey, and there was not everyone responded that they were super pleased or super ready or super up to date on the Chang info. So I wanted to cover this here. Does this make sense to people? Is there any questions on this? Awesome. I hope everyone already knew this and we're all on the same page. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's clear, Ryan. I just wanted to say that Lace is Chang ready on preview as of right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me,
yeah.
awesome.
The 113 release that it's already deployed is I delegated the DREP, voted, did all the stuff with it, and your DApp because the Gov tool was down.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, awesome. So that's great news. I will be moving into next week. I'm going to be more regularly bugging people for like Chang updates, so stuff like that. So that I can pass that sort of like really nice, awesome news to our comms team, and they can like tweet it out and give the celebrations and stuff like that. So that's awesome. I'll try to make sure we get some comms out around that. Cool. And yeah, actually, I can mention GovTool stuff. I haven't got it here. We have got a preview instance of GovTool running. It does mostly work, and we will open this up, probably next week for people to test. Obviously, it says SanchoNet here. We'll fix the copy, and then everyone can test this out, and the wallets can specifically test this out. Hopefully next week. Okay, maybe it doesn't work. It's not loading. Okay. Anyway, we'll go back to. And actually, I can give Lace team. I can give you access before that. This is a detailed view. The core team proposed some of these steps last week, and I haven't captured them all here because this was more of a simplified diagram. I didn't want to add too much here. So steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are just moving up to the Chang Hardfork. Obviously, on chain there'll be a governance action to move to Chang. This governance, I called it governance action, but this is using the old Shelley governance mechanism. So it's not really a governance action. It is like controlled by the Genesis keys, and this will be submitted on chain. The Genesis keys will sign off on it. That will then be checked and then resent if needed, and then everyone can prepare. Then we can prepare a governance action for later, and then we can hard fork. The particular thing I put this in the slides for is to highlight that there will be a governance action soon after Chang 1 or Chang as it's been called, whatever. Once we've confirmed Plutus V3 is working, the intention is to change the cost models for Plutus V1 and V2. And this will be soon after the Chang 1 hard fork. And this will obviously have to go through the bootstrapping governance process. So it'll go on chain. ICC members will have to prepare their voting credentials, and then ICC members can vote on it. I just wanted to raise this now because this sort of detail is not been shared super widely, and I think that's a bit of a mistake. And then once the cost model has been updated, then Plutus V1 and 2 can use all of the new primitives. Does this make sense? Do these steps make sense? Does this Plutus thing make sense? If so, I'll move on. Awesome. Okay, now let me try to bring it back around to wallets. notable points I really want to raise, and things that I think I should be shouting about. Number one, hardware wallet support. So we had a contract. We contract with Vacuum Labs to implement hardware wallets upgrades for Conway. So Intersect gave that out via the Dev Trust. Ledger and Trezor, I believe, have deployed all of these upgrades. So if you use those devices, please download it and test it out, as well as all of the supporting tooling. So like interop, the interop library for Ledger and like hardware wallet CLI should all be updated and should all be all be released and ready to go. I've tested some of it, but not all of it. One thing to note is every device is supported and upgraded except Ledger Nano S. So Ledger Nano S is like the discontinued device. It maybe did discontinue it around a year ago, but it is like one of the original Ledger devices. So Nano S, unfortunately, there was an issue with compiling the apps for Nano S. It just didn't work. So the Ledger team pushed forward with the release for all the other wallets, but not Ledger Nano S. So I just wanted to highlight that there because I think this gets lost in the messaging. Can we italicize it maybe? Additionally, and then going back to this Bluetooth V1, V2 thing, as I mentioned, that the cost models for V1, V2 scripts will change, and to be aware of that, because I particularly want to mention that because this isn't how other hard forks have worked. In Bazel and the hard forks before that, cost models for previous V1 and V2 scripts haven't been changed. So just to be aware of that, if you got things deployed, it may break. So double check stuff and make sure it's all right. Chang readiness page. This is a page I try to keep updated, as well as the Intersect team. Let me add the link here. This kind of a high level is pretty vague at some points. Should show readiness for different areas for the hard fork. So core infrastructure. So obviously all the node stuff's ready. Have some numbers on the environments and different node versions across networks from C Explorer. Exchanges, tooling. This is useful if perhaps some of the team here are blocked by specific tooling. Maybe you can come here and see if it's been released or not. That would be useful. Down here, I've got wallets. Obviously, I just have status ready. This is really quite poor. Unfortunately, I had to align this table with the rest of this page. My intention is to actually have a more detailed breakdown. So I'll take this into its own page, the wallets. I'll take it into its own page and track things, track wallet features against networks, and plus maybe also tracking governance support. So some wallets are just upgrading their infrastructure to Conway, whereas other wallets, I think most people in school are upgrading to support SIP95 and some of the new governance features as well. And I think it's just be really nice to promote that and highlight that for those wallets, so users are aware and the readiness is captured. So I'll be working on that next week to capture that more broadly. That has hardware wallets and then some digest and stuff like that. I think that's all I had to talk through for Chang. I hope that made sense. Is there questions in the chat? One question: is there any break change? What do you refer to, Francis? Keystone wallet. I actually haven't talked to any of the Keystone wallet team, so I will actually add that to the tracking. Thank you, Quasar. I'll add Keystone. I just haven't used it. I just not familiar. I don't have one. We're working with them. Okay, if you're working with them, that's awesome. I will definitely add that in. Let me add a note. Add Keystone support. Keystone. Do you know if Keystone are doing specific governance stuff? Wow. If you support Conway, then they are actually, I guess.
Yeah, they support all the Conway
awesome.
stuff. So also sign data and catalyst and stuff like that will be.
They do sign data as well. Wow. They've been busy. They've been very busy.
They've been busy lately.
I know. I've seen murmurs, but I didn't. I haven't been following it.
It's still in development, so it's not available just. But it will.
Okay.
It will be released.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. That's awesome. Find data and Conway. So that's awesome to see. Okay. Okay, cool. Francis, I still don't know what you mean breaking chains in terms of siding or building transactions. No, you know, you can still build Babbage era transactions and submit them under Conway. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for. Cool. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So if you don't upgrade like your hardware wallet, for example, it can recognize what era it's in and build a Babbage transaction and can still submit that, and that's fine. You just obviously won't be able to use new governance features or exclusive V3 or anything like that. Yeah. Okay, that was it. That's all I had for today. We're 10 minutes early. Does anyone have any final questions? Anything you'd like to add? I want to thank everyone for coming. It's been a good turnout. It's always nice to see everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'll upload the
Thank you.
recording as normal to the Google Drive, and I'll share it through our Discord channel we have as well. I'll try to I'll try to do another call like this in let's say 4 weeks. I'll put it in for 4 weeks. Hopefully by then we may or may not have had the hard fork. I suspect not, but we may or may not have. So we'll probably have more stuff to talk about then. Cool. Hope everyone has a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.